Did you know that the average lifespan of a metal roof is almost 50 years? Compare that to an asphalt shingled roof that's only 15 to 20 years max. So choose metal for your next roof project. Palmer's Metal Mart in Lehigh and Logan is your metal roofing center for projects big and small. How do you know if it's time for a new roof? Are you missing shingles? Water damage in your home? Large amount of asphalt granules in your gutters? Shingles starting to curl upward? If you have these warning signs on your roof, it's time for a new one. With over 20 color finishes to choose from and all the popular styles, you'll love your roof from Palmer's Metal Mart. Save thousands when you install a metal roof from Metal Mart. Our professional staff can help you put together a roof that you can be proud of and know will last for many years to come. Call today. Palmer's Metal Mart in Logan and Lehigh. Online at palmersmetalmart.com. Mention this ad for special pricing. Palmer's Metal Mart, your metal roofing source.
It's time for the Garden Guide with your host, Mark Anderson from Anderson Seed and Garden.
New research suggests that people are more likely to eat vegetables if they have a tempting name.
What would life be without homegrown tomatoes? Only two things that money can't buy, and that's true love and homegrown tomatoes.
From gardening to landscaping.
Today we are going to try and create garden eyebrows. Kind of like the flowers are sprouting directly from your hair. That makes sense.
Phone lines are open at 753-KVNU or 800-369-KVNU.
Kind of like eating vegetables.
It's the Garden Guide, now on KVNU 610 AM and 102 FM.
And we welcome you to the show on another beautiful Saturday morning ahead of what looks like is going to be a very hot weekend. So a great time right after the show. Get out and enjoy time in the yard because as we get into the afternoon, Mark, it's going to get really warm.
It is going to get very warm, very, very warm. So it is July.
Yeah.
So,
it's to be expected.
It's supposed to be warm. So, but, it's making the gardens grow like crazy.
We've been talking about how ground temperatures just really are hotter right now.
Yes.
I we replanted, it was the third replanting of a couple squash plants.
Yeah.
Put them in last Friday. This week, they're already about 3 inches tall.
Oh, yeah.
And just really coming up
picked
fast
our first crookneck this week. I'll be picking zucchinis, both green and yellow, probably tonight. I've got some that are like ready to go.
Pretty close.
Yeah, I don't want them to get too big, and probably got cucumbers ready to go as well too. So it's that time of year where stuff's starting to come on. I don't have any ripe tomatoes yet,
but those are coming.
They're gonna be a little slow to ripen this year. I think a lot of times I've been able to get a tomato right around the 24th to the 30th of July, but this year I think it's going to be into August, just because we had such a slow start to the season. I mean, it was so cold and wet all the way through May. It just kind of slowed everything down a little bit.
And I've noticed with our tomatoes that even with just trying to keep up with just some steady, consistent watering, they still are just really struggling with just a little heat stress.
Yes.
I think this heat is just really making it tough on them. Meanwhile, the squash and the pumpkins are just going nuts.
Yeah.
And the tomatoes are just kind of like, oh, we're just taking our time here.
I've got peppers, though. I've got pepper set, and I've got some that are actually starting to ripen up on my peppers, which is very unusual. So they got a really good start. But I kept my aquadomes on them a little bit longer.
Oh.
Yeah, so generated a little extra heat. So I got a few gypsy peppers that are like yellow, kind of starting to color a little bit, so
Nice.
Love those gypsies. We tried a new pepper this year. It's called a shishito, and they're kind of a grilling type pepper, and so about 1 out of 10's kind of hot, and the rest are really pretty mild. So it's sometimes you get a little surprise.
You just never know.
But they're pretty mild. Even the hot ones are a little bit mild. So they're really not too bad.
Right.
Yeah, not too bad. But excited to try those. We've never done them before. We've heard a lot. I've had a lot of customers over the last 2 or 3 years asking for them, and so they've been really good. Yeah.
Well, last week we actually pre-recorded the show. We didn't have a chance to actually take any phone calls.
Right.
This week we want to let everyone know, for those wanting to call into the show, 752-5868, 752 KVNU. You'll be able to get into the show, ask your questions to Mark. Just remember 752 KVNU to participate in the show.
How come it's 752 today?
We street construction up along 2nd has been quite impactful upon us as they're doing a number of things. One, looking to expand the road, and then also to be able to redo a lot of the landscaping along the side of it. It's looking really great.
Right.
But in the process of that, those big machines, they have a tendency to hit those tiny little phone lines that
hit things that they're not supposed to.
Yeah, and so that has caused some problems over the last several weeks. But we do have 752-5868, so you can call in, be able to participate in the show, ask your questions. Yeah. Just remember 752 KVNU for today, and it's also a big weekend at Anderson Seed and Garden.
It is. This whole week
Mad
is
Money.
Yeah, it's been our Mad Money sale all this week. And if you're not familiar with the Mad Money, the way it works is from the 1st of March until now, anytime you've come into the store and given us your customer number, which is your phone number, for every $10 that you spend in the store, you get $1 back in Mad Money. So if you've come in and you've spent money in the store, and we've been tracking it with our computers off of your phone number, then you have Mad Money. We sent emails out to everyone on Monday reminding them that it was Mad Money time. But for every $10 that you spend, you get $1 in Mad Money. And with that Mad Money, you can come in right now and you can buy anything except for seeds and gift cards, basically anything in the store with your Mad Money, with a half-price discount with your Mad Money points. And it has to be stuff that's in the store, so it can't be special order type items. It's got to be something that's in store. And you can use that for up to half of your purchase with your Mad Money. So it's a great way for us to thank our customers for coming in all spring. It's kind of our customer appreciation sale, and you can use that Mad Money towards items that are on sale. You can use it towards items that are regular price. You can use it towards some of our clearance items that we're clearing out for half price. Like we've got geraniums that are really discounted. I've got a few geraniums left, a few wave petunias. We've got some bloomed out perennials that are half price. So we've got some really great deals going on for a lot of plants. And you can use that Mad Money towards that purchase. So if you've come in the store and accumulated $25 in Mad Money for this spring, you can come in now and, for example, you could get a bag of fertilizer that's regularly $55 and use that $25 discount towards the $55 and get it for $30 instead. And so it basically will give you a discount for up to half off of your purchase.
Off of your purchase.
Yeah.
And in the case of fertilizer, you're going to be getting it at the best prices.
Possible,
because fertilizer is
just
really
terrible
been tough
right now.
this year.
So last weekend we mentioned we've got some 16-16-8 with some additional iron in it, and this was a special purchase that we made last year, so we'd have some better pricing on some fertilizer to share with people. And it's normally $55. We've got it on sale for $40 right now. So it's $39.99, $40 for a 50-pound bag of 16-16-8 with it's either got 1 or 3% iron in it, but it's got that little extra kick of iron to really help green up the lawn, or whether it's shrubs you're using it on or vegetables. I mean, you can use that 16-16-8 on a lot of different plants, and they'll love it. So $40 for a 50-pound bag, and you can also use your Mad Money towards it as well, too. So
on top of that,
not too bad. I've got another lawn fertilizer that we're doing on sale, too. It's a Fertilome Lawn Food Plus Iron, and that one has at least a 3% iron in it, and maybe up to a 5% iron. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it'll really, really green your lawn up. It's got a lot of slow-release nitrogen in there. And this is a great time to fertilize your lawn. Usually we're recommending between the 4th of July and the 24th of July is prime time for throwing some fertilizer on right now. So if your lawn's stressing a little bit, great time to fertilize. Get that watered in really well. It'll encourage some new growth. New growth on the lawn will perk the lawn back up, green it up, get it looking good, and this time of year, leave it a little bit taller. You know, a lot of people are leaving their grass much taller than usual, not mowing quite as much, and it's really helping with the stress, with the heat. It'll keep your grass a lot greener because it's got more foliage. It's got more leaf surface area to be able to shade the soil. It'll help. It'll help the soil retain the moisture longer. Your grass doesn't stress as much. If you're mowing really close right now and we start getting into the high 90s, then you're probably going to see a little stressing. You're going to see a little bit of browning on that grass. And still, I have not seen any samples of grubs or bill bugs yet, but they're coming. So they're coming. So this is a good time to put an insecticide, preventative insecticide on as well, too.
I've seen a few bill bugs just around the neighborhood, walking around the sidewalks, but I'm just not seeing any.
Not seeing too much
lawn damage.
Yeah. And that's when all the larvae are starting to hatch. It's usually around the first part of July. And this year, the life cycle of the insects have been pushed back just a little bit. And so I think it's going to be showing up here pretty soon. So this is a prime time to put a preventative application on, because sod webworms, they're going to be showing up here in a month or 6 weeks. And so to prevent those, we want to put that application on now, because the insecticides that we have, like say Bug Blaster Plus or a Grub Free Zone from High Yield, those are going to last for 3 months. So you put it on now, it's going to last all the way into October and control those insects. So you're going to get August, you're going to get all of September, you're going to get all of the rest of July and a little bit into October, and prevent those insects before they do any damage.
So now one insect that I am seeing a lot, in fact, we were joking about it as my wife and I, we were walking around our neighborhood late last night, is grasshoppers.
Oh,
they're everywhere now.
Yeah. I've been using a repellent in my garden. That's worked really, really well. But it only lasts about 2 weeks, and so you got to do it again. And
consistently.
And I did mine about 3.5 weeks ago, and I can tell that it's worn off, because I'm seeing little baby grasshoppers on my potatoes, and they're just like, they're just munching away on those potatoes. In fact, if you're out there in the just the late evening, just as the sun's kind of going down in my garden, it's really quiet. If I don't hear the traffic going by, it's really quiet, and I can hear.
And they're just chomping away.
You can hear them nibbling on the plants. So it's time for another repellent. And at this point, I might spray a little bit of an insecticide too. So safe products to use for grasshoppers, you'd be permethrin. So permethrin's safe for fruits and vegetables, safe for turf. It's great for mosquitoes and box elder bugs and spiders and ants and earwigs and grasshoppers. Does a really great job, safe to use on those plants, and gives you probably about 2 week residual as well too. 7, the new formulation of 7 will do a really, really great job as well, and stop those grasshoppers before they really do a lot of damage. And from High Yield, I love the Bug Blaster. The Bug Blaster really does a great job of stopping the grasshoppers, but it's a little too potent for using on edibles. So you can't spray your raspberries with it. You can't spray your tomato plants with it. It's got too long of a residual, and so I use the Bug Blaster around the perimeter of my garden, and it's safe for turf, safe for flowers, safe for shrubs, safe for foundation spray around your house. It's going to give you a little bit longer residual to really knock those grasshoppers down before they do a lot of damage. And they can eat a lot of stuff in a very short amount of time.
And they produce like crazy. And so I was out in the garden, and I'm seeing little tiny baby grasshoppers. I'm seeing mom and dad grasshoppers, and there were probably even a few grandma and grandpas out there too. Yep,
there are. There's some big ones. There's a lot of little ones. It just kind of appears that their life cycle this year has been delayed also, just like the rest of the other insects. And so we saw some that hatched out early. We saw some that wintered over from last year, because we really did have a mild winter, except for that really cold period in February. So we've got adult, mature grasshoppers that wintered over from last year that are active again. But then you see all the little babies all over the place.
They're coming up everywhere.
Yeah. And it wasn't just like they all hatched the end of May, and they're all just on the move, on the prowl to go find food. It seems like there's lots of different stages along the life cycle. We're seeing nymphs that have just barely hatched. We're seeing some that are an inch long. We're seeing some that are 2 inches long. There's just the whole gamut of all the sizes of grasshoppers out there right now.
And then while we were picking up a phone call, you mentioned insecticides, like a 7 to dust.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
The 7 spray. The spray is going to be more effective than the dust right now. So I'd probably say use the liquid. The sprays are going to be better. So the High Yield indoor outdoor, which has permethrin in it, would be great and safe to use on all those edibles. The 7 concentrate of the liquid. It's a new generation of insecticide, so it's not the same old 7 that you're familiar with from even 5 years ago. It's very, very different, and it's a super low toxicity for people. Very effective on the insects, safe to use on most vegetables and fruits up to the day before you harvest. So a lot of people are in picking their raspberries right now, and they're like, I'm picking raspberries. I don't want to hurt my bees. I don't want to cause problems. I want to eat my fruit, but I've got grasshoppers all over the place. What can I do? Well, the 7 is labeled for use for raspberries and blackberries right up to the day before you harvest. So if you're picking right now, you could pick tonight, and then as soon as you're done picking, spray the raspberries, and then by Monday
you're okay.
You could pick again. Yeah, you'd be safe to pick again. So Monday morning, you go out there and you can pick again. Just make sure and rinse your raspberries. Rinse them before you eat them, which is the hard thing, because when you're out there picking raspberries, I always have my bucket, my container to put them in there, and it's like one in the container, one for Mark. Yeah, one in the container, one for Mark. That's how it works. Okay, what's that new phone number for today?
752 KVNU 752-5868, and we're going to go out to the phones. We have Todd joining us on the line from Logan with a couple questions. Todd, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, Will. Appreciate it. Hey, Mark.
Hello, Todd. How are you today?
I'm doing great.
Good.
It's another Saturday. I can't believe that.
I know. Can you believe it? Middle of July already.
I cannot believe it. I don't know where the season is.
I looked at the calendar yesterday, and I was like, oh my gosh, it is the 15th of July already.
Yeah, I cannot believe that. And they're having Christmas in July specials on Hallmark. It's wonderful, isn't it?
Hey, you know what? All of our Christmas product is starting to show up as well, too. So the greenhouses are not filling up with plants at this point. It's too hot in there, but it is starting to show the
Just
holiday
don't play
spirit.
Christmas music yet, okay?
No. We won't be doing that for quite some time now.
For the radio.
No Christmas music. That's for sure.
For quite some time. Yeah.
I'm kidding. I'll get on with my question. So, Mark, I go on vacation for 2 weeks.
Yes.
I come back. I think I told you this before. My lawn was as green and green and lush as can be. I come back, and it's like a brown carpet.
Yes.
And I had people water it, and I made sure my wife, we did the watering schedule pristine as we've done in years before.
Yes. And
it is as brown as can be. And I went out the other day and I checked the roots and everything. The roots are just fine.
So the turf is still well attached then.
It's just well attached, but there's little parts of green, like little pieces of green everywhere, but not as it should. And I'm assuming that's the stress and all the winds we've had.
It has been very hot, and it also has been really windy. So we've seen a lot of plants stressing a little bit. Like I planted some new raspberries this spring. I put in about 10 Joan Jays, and I also put in a few polka to try, because I've never tried the polka before. Then I put some blackberries in, and it's windy at my house every morning because I'm up kind of by Logan King, and the wind blows like crazy, and it's drying the leaves out like mad. It's like the soil's moist. I dig down an inch. It's like the soil's moist there, so the moisture's there for the plants. But since the wind's blowing in the morning, and it's also been blowing at night as well too, it's just it's really drying things out. It's been warm wind as well too, so it could be stress. Unfortunately, sometimes when you have somebody come and water things for you, they don't water quite as well as you do. And so it could be a little bit of stress. I would say at this point, Todd, I have not seen one sample of billbug or grub damage yet this year, but I think it's coming. And so I think it's going to happen here very soon. We're going to start to see a lot of samples of insect damage. But up to this point, I have not. And so it's been mostly just stress damage and a little bit of disease. And so with the cool, wet weather that we had all spring, all the way through May, with intermittent, really warm and dry periods, and then cool and wet, then warm and dry, then cool and wet, and temperatures hot during the day, cold at night, we've seen a lot of disease. And so a lot of summer patch, a lot of dollar spot. We're seeing quite a few diseases. So there's a possibility it could be a disease, but usually that won't take over whole sections of your lawn in 2 weeks. You'd see it show up in little spots and then just kind of gradually increase in size over time. So if it's more of like your whole lawn all at the same time kind of stressing, could definitely be stress. Especially if you say your root system's well attached. So if that's the case, then a little bit of humate, a little bit of either the Hydrotain or the Back to Green to get the soil to absorb and retain the moisture a little bit better. Those would work excellent.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. No stresses there. And Will was talking about the grasshoppers. Holy cow!
Yes.
I've never seen them this bad. I've seen different colors and everything else too. Green ones and orange ones and all of that good stuff. But where I live, I'm just curious. We don't have any fields nearby. Where I live, how do they come in our lawn?
They live over at the high school, and then they're attracted to your green grass. They can smell it from like a mile away. They're like, I think,
really?
The field over here is getting kind of dry. I think I'll head over to Todd's house. Yeah, I can hear him thinking that.
We have several large fields around our neighborhood, and even a large swamp area, and they seem to originate there, and then they start to move, and
So you're the one.
They head out. So, they are everywhere this year, and it's, as we've talked about before, it's the worst year to have problems with not being able to get any sort of insecticide for them in the past.
The Nolo bait has been very effective in the past, especially at decreasing the number of grasshoppers. So it really decreases their ability to reproduce and kills them off, and then it spreads to other ones. And so hopefully, got my fingers crossed, we'll have Nolo bait
for next year
available again next year. It's like we ordered it last fall. We ordered it in September, but since the manufacturers had some fires in their facility, they've had some other setbacks as well too. They just could not produce enough this year to satisfy the demand, and so I don't even know anybody in the country that got any this year. So kind of crazy.
I'm going to blame the grasshopper population on Will for sending them my way.
Yeah, we're all going to have to do our part to try to get rid of them, Todd.
Yeah.
But good luck with that.
So, well, thank you. And one more other thing, just out of curiosity, is there a non-resistant grasshopper plant out there?
That is a great question. As far as I know, if it's green and leafy, they'll eat it. I don't know of a plant that the grasshoppers just kind of go, I don't like those. I think they have preferences where there's certain things that they would prefer to eat first, and then they go after other things if their food source is gone. But as far as I know, they'll eat sagebrush, they'll eat all kinds of different things. So I'm sure there's probably some plants that they really don't like, and they'll only eat as a last resort. But not that I'm aware of, Todd.
They've really devoured my wife's lemon balm, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
But it's like you say, grassy, luscious foods are a lot better than brown grass.
Exactly. Yep. So when their food source dries up, they don't want to eat that anymore. They'll go for the green pastures.
Yeah. Well, hey, I don't mean to take your time. I'll let others call in. But
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Awesome.
I appreciate it so much.
Thank you, Todd. Have a great weekend.
You too. See ya.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right, so for those who are trying to call in, we'll pull Todd off of the line, and 752-5868, 752-5868, as we've been talking about this morning. The phone line's a little bit different this morning due to some construction along 2nd North, but you should be able to call in now as we put that There we go. 752-5868 if you have a question for Mark. We're heading towards the bottom of the hour, Mark. You mentioned the Mad Money sale kicked off.
Mad Money's going this week, so this is kind of like your last weekend to come use your Mad Money for this sale. We'll have another one in September, and we will have another Mad Money redemption in December as well too. So from here on out, you'll be able to accumulate more Mad Money, come in September and use it towards bulbs. So we have like our bulb exchange in September, and then in December we'll open it up again to all the Christmas and holiday decor that we've got going, and the sales going on in the first part of December. So it's a really great time to redeem your Mad Money as well too. So a lot of great things going on at Anderson's. We have some really, really nice trees in stock right now. There are some great perennials that we just received this week as well too. Those stone fruits that we got in just a week and a half ago look amazing. So there's peaches, there are nectarines, there are apricots, there's cherries, there's plums. I've got a few apples and pears left as well too. And the trees are in 10-gallon containers. They're big. They're all 6 to 7 feet tall. Some are even taller than that, and fully leafed out. So they've got like 2 feet. Some of them have even 3 feet of growth on them from this spring. So they look absolutely gorgeous. They look awesome. We never have peaches this time of year.
Yeah.
Ever. Like, we never have peaches. And I've got probably 50 peaches in stock right now. So
you can put in.
Not quite 50, 40.
We were talking about earlier, just going to have to dig a pretty good hole to get them started, but already well established.
Yeah. So I had somebody in the other day, and they planted some plants, and they were struggling a little bit, and come to find out they had not dug their holes very big. They just dug them slightly larger than the pots that they were in previously, and so we kind of walked through that process on how to plant properly and how to water properly. Had somebody in yesterday, and they were basically drowning their plants. They were giving like 1 gallon perennials, probably a half a gallon every day of water.
Don't need that much.
It's not drying out. It's not draining through. And it was just like standing in straight mud. And those poor little plants were suffering. So, but gotta watch the watering this time of year. Of course, we want to conserve, but a lot of times we overwater our plants. Yeah, just in general.
Let's go back out to the phone lines. We have Neil joining us on the line. Neil, welcome to the show. Your question for Mark.
Thanks for taking my call. Have a small patch of raspberries, and last year we had, a few that we finally got fruit off of. This year the whole patch has gone wild, and I'm wondering if you can kind of explain what happens, what makes them do that. And is there anything you can spray them with early in the year to change that? You have to dig them all up and start over. Just curious about that.
What do you mean they've gone wild? What describe that to me?
Well, there's no fruit on them at all. They're green. The plants are green and healthy, but there's no fruit at all.
Are they June bearing, or are they ever bearing where they produce in the fall as well too?
The ones from last year were June bearing.
So they produced a bunch in the summer and then no production in the fall.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. How did you prune them last spring or this spring?
We cut them down about half.
Okay. Usually what we recommend with June bearing is you cut them down to about 3 feet. And I do that first thing in the spring, March or April, as soon as I can get out there and not sink up to my neck in mud. And then fertilize at that point, because you want to get some nice new growth that comes off of those canes from last year. And so we'll prune down to about 3 feet or so, take a lot of that excess growth off from last year, fertilize at that point, and then the new growth that comes off those older canes is where all your fruit production is going to be. We did have some late frosts that could have done some damage to your blossoms, and that's why you don't have much fruit set.
Oh, okay.
So right now, yesterday, I talked to Jess Weeks from Weeks Berries of Paradise, and he said their berries are just getting going right now, which is a little bit later than usual for some of their earlier varieties, and they experienced a little bit of frost damage as well too. But their crops are really coming on. He said their fall crops look amazing, but everything's a little bit slow. Everything's a little bit behind this year, and we did see some frost right in that bloom period on the raspberries, which could have just decreased your fruit production for sure. So, yeah. So,
okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. My usual recommendation is that every time you prune them, and I usually prune in the spring early, and then I prune in the summer after we do that summer picking. We'll prune all those old canes out and prune them right down to the ground. Those are the 2 times that I fertilize. So I'll fertilize right after I prune in the spring, and then after we prune in the summertime, I'll fertilize them again. And if they're ever bearing, then that will really help encourage some production for fall as well too. So you'll have a really good September crop at the same time.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome, Neil. Have a wonderful weekend.
You too. Bye.
All right. See ya.
Okay, and so that'll free up the phone line, 752-5868, 752-KVNU. If you have a question for Mark, we're going to head into the bottom of the hour break. Be right back to take more of your calls on the Garden Guide here on KVNU. 30 minutes after the hour, I'm Will Feelright with your KVNU News Update. It's brought to you by Mount Logan Laundry. Well, 3 Utahns who were boating on the Snake River in Idaho's Bonneville County were rescued this past week after their boat capsized, according to authorities. None of the recreationists were reportedly wearing life jackets. According to a statement from the Bonneville County Sheriff's Office, deputies responded to Swan Valley after receiving a 911 call of 2 people in the water near an overturned boat. The Snake River's swift current had prevented the 2 boaters from reaching a rescue rope that the 911 caller had attempted to throw to them. In addition to the Sheriff's Office, crews from the Idaho Falls and Swan Valley Fire Departments responded to assist in the rescue efforts. Deputies were able to reach the victims by boat downstream. When the 2 were pulled out of the water, though, they said that there was a 3rd occupant in the boat when it overturned. They told authorities they hadn't seen the man since the boat had capsized. The Swan Valley Fire Department later located that 3rd boater, though, in an area upstream. The man had been able to get out of the river on his own, according to the Sheriff's Office. And Utah Highway Patrol troopers are asking drivers to slow down after they stopped the same driver twice in the span of approximately 10 minutes for traveling over 100 miles per hour. They said the 2 separate troopers made a stop on the same vehicle this past Wednesday. The Honda Pilot had encountered the first trooper on Interstate 15 in Juab County at around 6:43 p.m. after the driver was speeding at 111 miles an hour. Officials said the driver was stopped and cited. Then approximately 10 minutes later, that same vehicle was pulled over again, traveling 105 miles an hour. Well, an excessive heat warning is in effect as we're going to see temperatures staying in the high 90s the next several days, with overnight temperatures staying right around the mid-60s. I'm Will Feelright for KVNU News.
From ABC Sports. Hi, everybody. I'm Todd, and Clayton Kershaw took a perfect game through 7 innings for the second time this season as the Dodgers dominated in Anaheim.
Here's the 2-1. Line drive, base hit. There it goes. No hitter done. Perfect game is done. And now Rengifo will arrive at second base with a double. A clean, scorching line drive off the bat of Luis Rengifo. And dreams of a perfect game are over. And now a standing ovation for Clayton Kershaw.
On AM 570, Dodgers, though, beat the Halos 9-1. Mike Yastrzemski was the walk-off hero for the Giants.
Swing. There's a shot. Deep center field. Way back there. Still going. It's a grand slam. Can you believe it?
The call on KNBR, San Fran went deep 3 times in the 9th to beat Milwaukee 8-5. This is ABC Sport.
The results are in for the 2022 Best of Northern Utah contest, presented by Campbell Snacks, home of Pepperidge Farm. Pick up your free copy of the Winners Magazine. Pickup locations are listed at bestofnorthernutah.com. Over 600,000 votes were cast to determine gold and silver winners in 185 business categories. Help congratulate these businesses and let's support all of our local businesses. And thank you for participating in the 2022 Best of Northern Utah contest.
Best of Northern
Utah.
Who do you turn to if you want to change out your wood or pellet stove? Advanced Fireplace and Stove. They were voted the gold medalist for Best of Northern Utah for the second year in a row in the fireplace retrofit category. Be ready when the government's next wood and pellet replacement incentives pop up. Advanced Fireplace can help you navigate the paperwork. For more information, call Advanced Fireplace and Stove, 752-7272. Online, advancedfireplaceandstove.com.
The Garden Guide on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102.1 FM.
And welcome back to the show. 8:39 now, and we're going to go right back out to the phone lines. We'll feel right along with Mark Anderson of Anderson Seed and Gardens with the Garden Guide. And we have Christine joining us on the line from Smithfield. Christine, welcome to the show.
Hello?
There you are, Christine.
How are you doing?
How are you?
We're doing great.
Okay, I told him I had a question, so I've been walking outside so I remember. One has to do with cedar, that cedar stuff.
Yes.
Can you put that out? Can it get wet? That's what I want to know.
Absolutely. It's made to be used on lawns for mosquitoes. And so it works really, really well on a large number of flying insects. So it's great for mosquitoes, it's great for moths, it's really great for different types of flies, and it works well on grasshoppers as well too. And it comes in a liquid as well as in a granule, and the liquid and the granule both will last about 2 weeks, whether it gets rained on or the sprinklers hit it or doesn't really matter. If it's in kind of a dry location where it doesn't get watered too much, it'll probably last longer than the 2 weeks. So since I don't use sprinklers in my garden, I just use soaker hoses. I can get mine to last longer, but it's been almost a month since I put mine on, and it's worn off. I can tell the critters are starting to come nibble. So
on the grass, you just kind of go out like you're going to plant grass or fertilize it.
Right.
Spread it all over.
It's a little small. It's a really small gray granule, and so you can broadcast it out just like you would a fertilizer or a grass seed. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, and same thing in the garden, and it won't. I can just do aerate it or whatever you call it, and just let it go.
Yeah. So like my garden's about 8,000 square feet, and I just put it in my broadcast spreader that I sling over my shoulder, and I'll just walk up and down the rows, and I just kind of broadcast it in between the rows. And if it gets on the plants, it's fine. It's not going to hurt the plants at all. If you use the liquid, you've got to be really careful not to apply it to edibles, because it won't hurt them, and it really won't hurt you, but your tomatoes might taste like cedar.
Yeah. Like you left them in the cedar chest.
Exactly. Yeah. And so it's not highly recommended to apply them, the liquid, to the vegetables. But, I'll broadcast it. Like I've got 2 pretty good sized rows of potatoes. I'll walk right down between those rows of potatoes, and I'll broadcast it on the potatoes. But, the potatoes, I'm not eating the tops of the potatoes, so it's not a big deal. Yeah.
They might taste good.
They don't taste good, I promise. But the grasshoppers like them, so it's like, all right, be my guest.
Yeah.
So have at it.
The other question is, I'm out by my apples, and I notice they have a green bug on them. What is that all about?
On the apples, we've seen a lot of leaf hoppers, and the leaf hoppers aren't like big like grasshoppers, but they kind of look a little bit like teeny tiny grasshoppers. And the leaf hoppers will make the leaves go speckly, so you'll see little brown speckles on the leaves. Sometimes they can affect the fruit, where your fruit will russet a little bit. So
I've seen that too.
It's probably a good idea to get the leaf hoppers under control. We've seen a lot of those. We've seen a lot of thrips so far this year. So and aphids. Aphids were crazy. But I did have someone call the other day to the store. They wanted to talk to me specifically, and I was like, what are they going to complain about?
Oh, no.
And he got on the phone. I was like, hey, how are you? What can I do to help you? And he's like, I just want to let you know that those ladybugs you sold me were the best thing I've ever bought. He was so
I love 'em.
he was so excited about his ladybugs. He's just like, I put those out and I had aphids all over my cherry tree and I had aphids all over my snowball bush. And he's like, 4 days later, I went out there and there were baby ladybugs all over the place and no aphids. And he was just ecstatic about how well his ladybugs. And he's like, and I didn't have to spray anything. I just put those out, and he's like, I put the lace wings out too, and I've seen those in the yard, and so he was just like, this was like the best option. He was so excited about it. So those are the phone calls I really like to get. So
yeah, I like the ladybugs, but I put some out this year, and I think they're gone. So what do I do with these little green bugs?
So
I spray on them?
Unfortunately, the ladybugs won't eat leaf hoppers. Yeah, they won't eat the leaf hoppers, and so your timing couldn't be any better, Christine, because right now is the time to spray your apples and pears for the second generation of codling moth. And so Utah State Extension has recommended between the 11th and the 18th is when you need to get your next application on. So if you spray for codling moth with malathion or 7 or permethrin or fruit tree spray from Fertilome. And there's a whole bunch of really great options out there. Spinosad from Natural Guard. It will take care of your leaf hoppers as well.
So what if my trees aren't the little ones? What if there's is it the semi-dwarf?
They're semi-dwarf. How tall are they?
They're big.
Like
they're
20 feet?
Yeah, at least.
Well, if they're bigger than that, then they're probably not semi-dwarf. They're probably standard trees.
Standard trees.
Yeah, because usually semi-dwarfs max out about 15 feet. 15, maybe 18 at the most.
Big.
Yeah.
And they're like 30-plus years old.
Spray as much as you can, and cover as many. If the trees are that tall, you're probably not picking the fruit up there on the top anyway. Yeah. Just spray the sections of the tree that you're going to be able to get to and pick. I had a customer in the other day, and they were trying to use a power washer to spray a tree that was really tall, much taller than your apple tree. And we actually came up with a really great option for him to do that. So with his power washer, I've got a fertilizer, insecticide injector where you can inject chemicals right into the water that's coming through your hose. And so we figured out how to hook that up to his power washer so he could get an insecticide into his power washer, and it worked really well. It worked really, really well. So you gotta have a 5-gallon bucket. You gotta have this injector, and you attach it to your faucet where the water comes out of the house, or your water riser or whatever. And then you hook the power washer up to it, and it injects the fertilizer or the insecticide right into the water that's going through the hose, and then it would therefore show up in the power washer. You could use that too. And those power washers will spray really high. But then after that, you got to make sure and clean everything out really well so you don't have residual. Works great for fertilizers, but you can do the same thing with an insecticide as well too. Just got to.
Yeah, and I found. Yeah, I have a power washer, so I get feeling better. I'll have to come in. And then I found out I have borers in my raspberries.
Right. The problem.
And I've been cutting them off, and then they told me to use 7, but how do you, I have sprayers, how do you you just have to wash them out really good and make sure that you don't, like say you use weed and something, and then you got this.
Yeah, well,
I got to spray the 7.
With herbicides, that's a different story because that's going to kill plants, and so you never want to mix, sprayers that you're using weed killer with a sprayer using an insecticide with, and
so if I label one for killing and the other for not killing, then can I use them back and forth?
So I have a couple sprayers at home. One's set for insecticides, and I just do insects with it. One's set for kills all or Roundup, and then I've got one for lawn weeds as well too, so you don't intermingle those. The one thing you've got to remember if you're using different sprayers, or if you're trying the power washer trick, or just even a hose end sprayer, make sure you read the label, whatever product you're using, and wear the proper protective equipment. So it's okay. It's okay to use an insecticide on your fruit tree. Just make sure you read the label, and on the back of the label it'll say, hey, when you're using this product, you should wear shoes, socks, pants, long sleeve shirt, gloves.
You are?
Oh yeah.
I'm just teasing you. I know that.
It will tell you on the bottle what you're supposed to be wearing, and most of the insecticides that you can purchase as a consumer are relatively low toxicity. And so if you're wearing gloves and a hat and some goggles, and you can wear a dust mask if you want to, so you're not breathing it in. But if you're following the instructions on there that say you should wear this much protective gear, and then when you're done, throw it all in the wash and wash it, you're going to be well protected. Yeah, you're going to be well protected, because they'll always err on the side of caution and tell you to wear more protective gear than usual. That product, that 7 that we were just talking about, very, very low toxicity. So if you read the label, it'll say, hey, it'd be a great idea to wear gloves, but otherwise, shoes and socks and pants and a long sleeve shirt, and you're well protected when you're out there making those applications. So great topic of conversation, Christine.
Okay, so if I label one for 7, and then I label the other one for killing, then I should be okay.
Yep.
Should be fine.
You will be in great shape.
I better go find them and see what's in what.
Okay.
Well, good luck, Christine. We thank you for your call this morning, and that clears up the phone line. 752 again, as we've been mentioning this morning. 752 KVNU to get in with still 10 minutes, so we've got plenty of time to take your call.
We only have 10 minutes left.
Goes by fast.
Oh, my gosh, it goes by really fast. So we mentioned it's Mad Money sale going on right now. We've got some great deals going on. So all of our perennials are 20% off, so not just the bloomed out ones. So the bloomed out perennials we've got on sale, they have been 50% off. I think we've bumped them up to 70% off on our bloomed out perennials. So a really great time to pick up some of our good-looking perennials that just have finished blooming, and we've cut the flowers off of them already. And all of our remaining annuals, including our hanging baskets, are half price. But there are some hanging baskets that we use to replace the hanging baskets on Center Street. Those aren't for sale. You can't buy those because we have to have extras in case we have a disaster like we have the last couple of weeks. So somebody is getting in and turning off the timers on the watering system on the hanging baskets on Main Street. Yeah, and so it's not something we like to publicize, but someone is doing a little bit of vandalism, and they're turning the water systems off. And so if we don't catch it and they go a day with a really hot, dry, windy, and no water, then it kind of kills the baskets. Yeah, it kind of kills the baskets. And so we've had to step up our monitoring and try and stay on top of that. And it's nice to have some extra baskets to replace them with, because when 6 of your baskets all dry up and look like they're made for the garbage
in one day,
then you have to replace them, or else you have no baskets at all. Yeah. So we're trying to stay on top of that. So if anybody who's trying to play a prank on Main Street, let us know. We'd like to know who that is.
Yeah.
So, but otherwise, we've got some great sales on some excellent plants. All of our annuals are half price. Perennials are on sale for 20% off. Bloomed out perennials, and they'll be marked in a special section. They'll be 70% off. And some great fertilizers. And you can use your Mad Money towards all the stuff that's on sale, as well as our regular price items.
And as we were talking earlier, fruit trees that a lot of times never had fruit trees this time
of the year. That's how it works.
Yeah.
Yep, that's how it works.
All right, well, Lori is joining us on the line as we head back out to the phone lines. Lori, welcome to the Garden Guide.
Thank you. I have a question. I have a semi-dwarf apple tree. It's a Jonathan, and last year was its off year. I had a few apples. This year it was just loaded with blooms, and apples were coming out, and it was just great. In fact, there were so many I had to literally thin a few of them. And now they're all shriveling up and dying, except for very, very few. What's going on?
That is a great question. When did it kind of start happening?
Geez, I don't know. I just, I sprayed them. When did we spray? June, 1st of June, and they seem to be fine.
Yes.
So it's any time after that.
And the fruits are just kind of shriveling up a little bit.
A little.
A lot.
The ones that are about size of an oversized marble, I look at them and I go, what in the world? And here's this big apple next to it.
Yeah.
And this oversized marble that's just shriveled up. And then there's a bunch of little blooms that never even did anything,
You
really.
got a little bit of fire blight. A little bit of fire blight. So what will happen is when the blossoms are open, if you get a little bit of the bacteria in there, it will kill the blossoms, or if the fruit kind of starts to set, it will damage the fruit to the point that it won't mature. And fortunately, it has not spread further into your tree, so that's a really good thing. I don't know if you sprayed for fire blight or if you did some prevention as well too. Some trees are more resistant to it than others as well too. But you can have some of that fruit that gets damaged and it'll turn black or brown and it will shrivel up and it won't develop properly. And you can have like good, nice fruit right next to it.
That's what I have.
Yeah. The good thing that you've got going on is kind of naturally thins out your tree. So I'm like looking at my mom's Lodi apple. It's a yellow transparent. It's my favorite apple for pie. It's like the best. And it is so full. And I couldn't get it thinned out very well. It's got so much fruit on it that like all the apples are going to be just tiny because there's just so much fruit. So
yeah, it does thin it out.
Yeah.
I'm getting maybe a third of the apples I usually do in a crop.
Yeah, and we thought that tree was on its way out, like it was going to die, and so I put some implants into it this spring, and it was just absolutely covered with blossoms, and now it's absolutely covered with fruit as well too. So I'm just like, at this point, it's too late to get it really thin because the apples are going to be ready in like 3 weeks. So yeah.
So how do I get rid of this fire blight anyway?
The fire blight, the best thing you can do right now is spray the tree with a product called Garden Foss. The Garden Foss is a systemic fungicide. It works on fire blight from the inside out. It's the only thing that's out there that works systemically on fire blight.
Is it too late? Or?
It's not. So you can spray it. Use a tablespoon per gallon. They bumped the rate up just a little bit. It used to be a teaspoon per gallon, but now they're recommending a tablespoon per gallon. Spray in the evening when it's not so hot. Spray it like 8:30 at night when it's cooler. It will be absorbed in through the leaves. It will run through the circulatory system of the tree. And if you've got a little bit of fire blight left in your tree, it'll keep it from spreading further. And then next spring, we can treat it. We can treat it once and treat the trunk instead of spraying it on the leaves. We'll treat the trunk instead. It will last for 3 months, and it will protect your tree through the entire blooms period and also when it's first setting fruit. And once you get past that, then you're good. You won't have any more problems with fire blight. So.
Oh, okay. It's called Garden. How do you spell
Garden Foss.
F-O-
It's spelled PHOS.
Oh, PHOS.
Yes.
Okay.
Just like fish. So.
Exactly. Yeah, I think you're right. Fishing, Fishing
yeah, exactly. With a PH. Yeah, so with a PH. So Garden Foss.
Okay, I'll try it. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Good luck with your apples, too. Oh, we've been picking cherries like crazy. Our cherries have been so good. Had to fight the birds for them, but they've been excellent.
Yeah, I've got neighbors with cherries. They said they're just beautiful.
Yeah, the cherries are awesome this year, and we timed our spray just right. There's not a single worm in the cherries,
perfect.
which is amazing. Yeah, so.
All right. Well, thanks again.
Thank you so much. You have a wonderful weekend.
Okay.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, we got time for a couple more.
We could. 752-5868, 752-KVNU. Get one last call in as we head towards the very top of the hour and finish up the show.
You have 30 seconds.
Yeah. For those that are just joining us this morning, we were talking earlier about grasshoppers. That seems to be one of the things that everybody's finding right now. And there's not really any magic fix this year.
No. And the Nolobate's not really a magic fix either, but it really helps decrease large populations. It really does a great job, but that won't be available again until next year. We have talked about insects on lawns, and we haven't seen any grub or billbug damage up to this point, but this is a prime time to get your fertilizer on your lawn, usually between the 4th of July and the 24th of July. Great time to fertilize. We have some excellent fertilizers on sale at Anderson's. You can use your MAD money towards the fertilizer as well, too. And it's a good time to put your preventative insecticide on, whether you do Bug Blaster Plus or the Grub Free Zone. They'll both last about 2 to 3 months, and they'll control any insects that are hatching or doing damage in your lawn up until about the first part of October. So this is a perfect time to put that preventative insecticide on if you've had problems in the past.
Take care of it.
Yep. One quick call.
Last one, okay. Lyle is joining us on the line. Lyle, your question for Mark.
Mark, I bought some hydrocane pellets
at
your store, and I'm wondering, is it too late to put that on?
It is not too late at all. In fact, it's going to really help with the heat kicking in, where you can apply that, water it in, it'll get down into the soil, it'll help the soil absorb and retain the moisture, and if your lawn's stressing, it will really help perk the lawn back up. And if you want to cut your water back, you can cut your water back by 30 to 40% and still keep your lawn as green as it was before. Put it on. Great time to do it, Lyle.
Just broadcast it by hand?
Yep, broadcast it by hand, or like a fertilizer, the little fertilizer spreader would be great. And get it watered in, so make sure and do a full watering after you apply it, and it will last for the next 3 months. You'll be in great shape.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you. Thanks for calling in.
You're welcome. Bye.
All right. Have a great weekend, Lyle.
And that'll finish off the show.
Yeah, we're there.
Went by fast.
We're there. Will, thank you so much for being on the show.
You're welcome.
It's a pleasure.
It's always
to have,
great to come in
to have you on. So.
And it gives me a chance to ask my own questions. We'll have, of course, Mad Money going on right now.
Yes.
Next week, it'll be Pioneer Weekend.
Pioneer Weekend. I'll be at the parade.
Yeah.
So
be a good time. All right. So we hope you join us next week here on The Garden Guide on KVNU.
Talk around the clock.
I listen to you all the time.
News Talk, KVNU Logan, 610 AM at 102.1 FM.